Okay, fine. So we'll get back to this program. So like I said before, this program is basically to read a value and to operate upon it. So we are basically having a program over here to calculate the area of a circle. Now basically you had used a import statement called java.util.scanner import is the keyword. Now you are using this package called util, which belongs to the package called Java. You are using this class called scanner to read values. So you have the class main over here, you have the main function defined over here, a variable r to read in the radius, a definition for a variable pi which is equal to 3.14, and obviously you know that if pi is involved, basically the area will also be of the double data type. So and you have a statement over here, scanner s equal to new scanner system. Now, what is the purpose of this statement? Basically, I am importing a class called scanner over here to read in a value. So I need an object. So now this S is the object over here. So scanner S equal to new scanner. I'm creating an object of the scanner class S, and I'm running a constructor over here. Now this constructor is scanner system. Now system in is basically defining the fact that your input will be passed by the console or whatever is the input device, that is either the keyboard or the mouse, whatever it could be. But here we are using the keyboard. So this system.in basically refers to the fact that the input will be passed by the user through some console device that is associated. Then obviously you're displaying a statement called enter radius of the circle, and you need to read in the value. So basically you are running a function called next int. You have already defined the int as or the r as int data type. So you're using a function called next int to read that integer. So if you look at this slide over here, there are various methods that are available and there is a description given over here. So sometimes you may have to read a boolean value. You will have to use a byte value, double, float, int, line for a string, a long value and a short value. All these are methods which can be used for reading in the value. So here the data type is int. So I'm using this text called or the method called next int for reading the value. And then I calculate the area pi r square, and then I display this value. So I run this particular program to the compiler and I try running it, and when you execute this particular program, you can see that no public class, sorry, this class has to be defined as public, and it's done. I try executing it. This is running a bit slow. Okay, it has displayed enter radius of the circle. I give it as 5, give the value as 5, and enter the value as 5. You can see that there is some error over here. Let me just check. As a correction to the way of running this program, now already we had done programs where you were not reading in values or you are not having an interaction with the program, so you ran the program in a normal way. Now when there is interaction coming in, you can see a switch over here. I suggest you to move it to the interactive mode, and when you try to execute this particular program, it will interact. Now enter the radius has come. I give it as 5, and the area is computed and displayed as 78.5. Now this thing should be noted, make it interactive and try running it, otherwise there will be a timeout error. So I hope you got an idea of what a package is. So as per definition, a Java package can be a group of similar types of classes or interfaces or sub-packages which can be used for a common purpose. Now, like I said, you have a package called scanner. Under that, you had a class called scanner under which you had defined certain methods like next int, next line, and all those kind of things. So that is where the role of a package comes in. Always you don't have to define these functions as a part of your program. You are already using an available resource, so it can be predefined and stored somewhere. Only thing you need to do is you need to import the package. Now let me show it with commenting some of the statements. So if I comment this particular statement, like I comment the statement called import scanner, and I try executing this program. it will definitely result in an error because it has got nothing to show where the scanner is coming. There is no relation, or there is no emphasis on where the scanner is coming, just because of the fact that you had imported or you had commented this particular statement, basically deactivating it. So if you look over here, I have deactivated the statement. Now, if I don't use this statement, this entire program will not work. So that shows the importance of an import statement and how you should import this particular class to get this program run. So like I said, it can be, of two categories. One is a built-in package and other can be user defined. So right now what we have done is we have created a package, or we have used a package that is built in. Now, there might be certain programs where we have to design the packages and the classes that are we use. So that will be coming under user-defined package. We'll look into an example of user-defined package at the later section. Now you have got its certain advantages also. It is used to categorize the classes and interfaces so that can be maintained easily. It provides access protection and removes naming collision. That is the advantage. Moving on, in this PPT, we will be having some more programs. Basically, this is a program to read a string and operate. Again, you're using the scanner class over here, and you're trying to create an object called myobj, and you're using a string called username. Basically, it is to enter the username and to run it. Now, if you look over here, the function used here is next line. What is next line going to do? We had seen these methods over here. So next line is basically reading a string value from the user. So you're using a function called next line, and using a next int won't work over here. Please try doing it, and please try to understand what's the importance of all these functions. Now it will display the statement username is username, and you can have this particular look into this program. Now I just wrote in another program where you're having multiple data types, and over here you can see that you had basically what happens here is, I'm entering a employee database. I'll be using name, age, and salary. These are the three data types that I want. So age is name is a string, age is an integer value, and salary is a double value. So I'm using each method, next line, next int, and next double, for running this particular program, and you can see that it will be displaying it. So like I said before, you can try running this program. I'll be sending this PPT also, or the notepad document from where you can access these programs. Now basically you need to you know run this program and see how it works. Please do that, and please try to learn by programming and understanding the importance of each line, and try to do that on your own. Now I'm having another one program here. This is an extension of the previous program. Now this is basically dealing with multiple data types and uh, array of objects to operate. I'm correcting it. The program is to read multiple data types and array of objects to read and operate. So this what happens over here. You're having the import statement, you're having a class called employee. Now if you look over here in this employee class, you have your three variables defined in emp id, name, and salary of the data types in string and float respectively. You're using a function called get input. Now using that get input, now this basically is about multiple data types and multiple objects. So like a company has different kinds of employees, and more than one employee, you need to display their information. In the previous program it was just a single entity, but what if it was an array of objects? So like I mentioned over here, you have your get input function over here, which will be displaying the text called emp id. you're basically defining an object called in, and you will be using this constructor over here, system.in, which will be basically referring to the fact that it will be input by the user. You're reading it using next int, then you're displaying enter name, you're reading it using next int. Actually, it should have the next line over here, next line, and then you have the salary over here, which is next float, and then you will be displaying this as employee ID, employee name, and salary with this variables. And then you have the main function over here where you're creating an array of objects, like E is array over here, and it belongs to the class called employee. Now this is actually the constructor being defined over here, and you're having a for loop over here to actually run it for the 3 employees, and you have I defined over here starting from 0. So E of 0 will be having or running or creating this, initializing these variables over here using this constructor employee, and it will be calling this function get input, and you'll be running all these things, and you'll be getting the employee ID, name, as well as the salary, and then the data entered will be displayed using this particular for loop. You have this function being called display, and you'll be displaying this function over here. So when you try running this program over here in the compiler, you can see I've done a small modification with the program actually. So for the smooth running of the program, what I would suggest is, add the string uh, entries first, and then the int and the float values. It would be good if we can read in the strings first and then the values later. So I'll try to execute this program, and while executing, you can see that it's displaying enter the name. So like I said before, this is basically dealing with um, multiple programs, multiple objects, and you are trying to call in these functions using an array of objects. So I enter the name of Shay, the employee ID is 105, and the salary is like 25,000. Okay, then I enter the name Ajay, then I enter the employee ID, which is 201. Then the salary will be like 22,000, and then the third one comes, which is Ranveer, and then employee ID is 3077, and your salary would be like 220,000. So I enter, and the data will be displayed below. So as you can see, the program runs fine, and that would be for this current session. So hope the concepts are clear. We have started off with package, and we saw how packages work, and we have done with more programs in Java also. But there is no promise that these are the programs that are going to come for the exams and all. And I have tried different variants of the program. It would be good if you can you know try to access more sites to learn about various programs. So you have various tutorial sites like W3 schools, or you can have Java T point. Obviously there are many other sources that are available online from which you can learn all these concepts. But if this isn't enough, and if you want to learn about more programs, you can definitely access them to learn more about Java and various other topics. So that would be all for this particular video. Thank you.